Hello, dear children. It's time for us now to move towards the next chapter in your textbook, which is Lost Spring. Lost Spring is part of a collection of short essays written by Annie Jung, and it's taken from her book, which is called Stories of Stolen Childhood. As the title tells you, this deals with underprivileged children. Underprivileged meaning children who do not get their basic rights such as food, shelter, education, and all those rights that the government guarantees them. There are two parts in this lesson. Today we'll be dealing with the first part, which deals with the ragpickers. So let us look at the child about whom we are going to learn in this lesson. The child is a Bangladeshi refugee. Many people in Bangladesh tended to leave their country because though they had a lot of green fields and land, most of it was lost every year due to the constant floods, which left them totally hungry and even without a roof over their heads. So many of them, they migrated to India, and around 10,000 of them settled in a place called Seemapuri. Seemapuri is a place on the periphery of Delhi. By periphery, it means close to Delhi, not very far away, probably within a range of 50 or 80 kilometers. Understand? Geographically, the author says it's very close to Delhi, but metaphorically, it is far away. Let us examine this sentence. When the author says that geographically, Seemapuri is close to Delhi, which means on a map, you will find Seemapuri pretty close to Delhi. But metaphorically, the place is far away from Delhi. What is the meaning of metaphorically? What is a metaphor? As I've already explained in the poem, a metaphor is an extended simile. So, when you say that Seemapuri is metaphorically away from Delhi, what does Delhi stand for? Delhi is the capital of India. Delhi stands for development. Delhi stands for urbanization. Delhi stands for comforts. Delhi stands for skyscrapers. Delhi stands for traffic. Delhi stands for a modern way of life and all sorts of development that can be associated with. Metaphorically, Delhi is advancement. Delhi is comfort. Delhi is a city. Understand? Now, Seemapuri is a place which is geographically close to Delhi, but metaphorically it is the opposite of Delhi, which means there is no development, there is no advancement, there are no comforts, there is no traffic. In other sense, Seemapuri is what the author calls a wilderness. What's a wilderness? A wilderness is an unimportant place where the land is probably barren. Population settlement is very less. In fact, the place is so unimportant that you will not find it on any map. So, according to the author, Seemapuri is a wilderness. Now, in this wilderness, you have around 10,000 ragpickers. How do they live? They live in sheds with tarpaulin roofs. They don't have any running water. They don't have proper food. They don't have drainage facilities. They don't have sewage facilities. They live in a very, very primitive state without any sort of facilities. They are what you call squatters. Who's a squatter? A squatter is a person who occupies government land without proper permission. So all these people who live in Seemapuri are called squatters. Understand? They live on government land without any permission. The author says that They have got permits and ration cards. They have their names on voters' lists. But still, they do not have an identity. And most of them are rag pickers, which is the way they survive. These people feel that garbage is the way to their life. All they do is they keep scrounging in garbage for something valuable. You will find such people in major cities who you find will be searching inside garbage dumps, and they'll be finding something which is of value, and they'll be collecting it and selling it, and this is the way they lead their lives. So one of these rag pickers is a child called Sahab A. Alam. The boy's name is Sahab A. Alam. And the author Anis Jung once talks to this boy. She asks this boy, what are you doing? He says, I'm scrounging in garbage. Then she asks him, why do you do it? He says, I've got nothing else to do. So very glibly, the author says glibly, she says, go to school. What is the meaning of glibly? Glibly means without forethought, without thinking twice, in an offhand manner, in an unthinking manner. She says, go to school. But then she remembers that this child does not have even the most basic facilities. How do you expect this child to go to school? Then boy says, Sahab Alam says, there is no school near my home. Then this author, in a playful manner, probably asks him, if I build a school, will you come? And then he says, of course I will. And he disappears. And the author also goes away. A few days later, the author once again meets Sahab Alam, and the first thing he asks is your school ready? Then the author feels really bad. She feels, I shouldn't have made a promise I cannot keep. I shouldn't have made a promise I cannot keep. So the child actually wants to go to school. The child wants to lead a normal life that he sees every day in the city with other children. But unfortunately, his childhood is taken away from him, and he is forced to be a rag picker because there is nobody to take care of him. Now, the elders also scrounge in the garbage. The children also scrounge in the garbage. The meaning of garbage is slightly different for the elders and for the children. For elders, it is a means of survival. When elders actually scrounge in the garbage, they are actually looking for something valuable which they can take it and sell it and provide a roof over their head. They can have a full stomach and all that. But for children, it's worth its weight in gold, in the sense that there is always that curiosity when the child is scrounging in the garbage. Sahib says, sometimes I find a 10 rupee note in the garbage. Finding a 10 rupee note in the garbage is like getting a lottery. In those days, because this lesson was written many years ago, so finding a 10 rupee note is probably today equal to finding a 100 rupee note, which is actually very valuable for the child. So garbage is gold to the children. But for elders, it is a means of survival. Every day morning, the author sees these children with the bags, they carry over their back, in which they put all the things that they gather during the day. And by afternoon, these children disappear. There are many children. She always spends a lot of time speaking to these children. She speaks about a lot of things. For example, about their footwear. Understand? She speaks about their footwear. There is one guy who's wearing different types of shoes on both feet. And when she comments on it, another boy who's standing nearby says that I wish I had shoes. So a child who has no shoes is actually envying a child who's wearing different shoes on different feet. Another child, nearby says, "Oh, his mother will not bring down his shoes from the shelf." So, after listening to this, we can easily understand this is not the truth. The child does not own shoes or chappals, but they want to actually cover it up. So they say that his mother will not bring the shoes down from the shelf. So many of them are walking barefoot. So the author wonders whether this walking barefoot is actually because of poverty or is because of Indian culture. When you examine it, you'll find that it is a bit of both. You see, it is Indian culture to walk barefoot. How much ever money you have, you might be a millionaire, but yet you will find people walking barefoot. Sometimes inside their houses, outside their houses, in their compound, in temples, in other places where footwear is not permitted. If you just compare this with the European people or the American people, let us focus on places of worship. You'll find that people there actually do wear footwear inside, churches. Most of them are Christians, so they go to churches. They wear their footwear inside the church. But if you come to India, you will find that even Christians here do not wear their footwear inside the church. So it's a matter of Indianness. It's a culture. It's a tradition that we walk barefoot. And also the reason is that the extreme weather in European and American countries that makes it necessary for them to wear footwear at all times. And you will also find that in India, people walk barefoot inside their homes mostly. Whereas in European and American countries, they wear footwear even inside their homes. So it is a bit of the tradition also that Indians do walk barefoot inside their homes. And sometimes when they walk on the road, you'll find the child without money or a child who's living in poverty and destitution. They'll be walking without chappals. So at this point of time, when we are discussing about chappals, the author is reminded of a story a man once told her. It seems there was a temple in Udupi. Udupi is a place in Karnataka. It's close to Mangalore, not very far away from Mangalore. Udupi is famous for its temples, actually. So there was this temple which had a priest, and the priest had a son. Every day the boy would pray for shoes. Every day the boy would pray for shoes. Many years passed, and when the man once visited the town of Udupi some 30 years later, he found that the temple was in a state of destitution. The good old days of the temple were over, and it was poverty there, and there were plastic chairs, understand, and the priest lived in the quarters nearby. And then he found another boy there, quickly wearing shoes and probably going to school. Then this man remembers the prayer of another boy 30 years ago was answered now. Which means the prayer that a boy made there 30 years ago was that he wanted shoes. And when he got shoes, he said, "Let me never lose them." When 30 years ago boy prayed for shoes, daily he would pray for shoes. One day he got shoes. And then he made another prayer, "Let me never lose them." So even after 30 years, you find the boy there has not lost his shoes. It is another boy, but he still has shoes on his feet. So that is the importance of the prayer the boy makes. These are all small sub-stories out of this main theme, about children and their childhood and how they spend their childhood and all those things. The author meets these children, Sahab-e-Alam especially, 3 or 4 times. And the first time when she learns his name, Sahab-e-Alam, she feels What a name he has got. Because Sahab-e-Alam in Urdu means Lord of the Universe. And probably the boy, Sahab-e-Alam, does not know the meaning of his name. Because if he knew the meaning of his name, which is Lord of the Universe, probably he would not believe it. Because a person with the name of Sahab-e-Alam is actually forced to do rag picking in the streets. He does not have a home. He does not have education. He does not have running water. He doesn't have proper sewage facilities. He doesn't have proper drainage facilities. And he does not get even food. So, the name Sahab-e-Alam, Lord of the Universe, is very much ironical. A person with that name does not have even the most basic facilities we associate with children. But these children, when they keep scrounging in the garbage, sometimes find something valuable. And once you find something valuable, you never stop. You keep scrounging in the garbage, you keep searching in the garbage, always you keep hoping that you will find something valuable. And the story is all about hope. The more hope you have in life, the more are your chances of survival. The story is filled with hope. People like Sahab-e-Alam, children like him who keep scrounging in the garbage, are always hopeful of finding something valuable. Once, this author finds this boy, Sahab-e-Alam, near the local, tennis club. He is actually hanging on the gate and watching the sports going on inside the tennis court, where people, people have placed tennis with white shorts and white shirts, speckless, spotless white shirts and white shorts and white shoes. The boy is watching very intently at the sport. The author approaches him and starts talking to him. Then the boy says that after these people are done playing, the caretaker of this tennis club lets me use the swing. Since the boy is a very small boy, the caretaker there likes him and probably lets him use the swing. And then the author looks at his feet and she finds there are some new shoes, new in the sense old pair of shoes on his feet. Then she imagines maybe these were new shoes once upon a time. And maybe the rich boy threw them away because one of the shoes had a hole in them. But for Sahab-e-Alam, he was very happy because he had new shoes on his legs. Understand? But tennis is a sport he can only watch, because the sport is a very expensive sport and he knows he can never afford it in his life, because the sport of tennis is only meant for rich people. Again, a few days pass. And now, once again, she finds Sahab-e-Alam on the street. Immediately, she goes to talk to him. This time, she finds that he has got a milk canister in his hand. She wonders, why does he have a milk canister in his hand? Then Sahab-e-Alam says, now I have given up rag picking. I work for the tea shop seller. Understand? I get some money daily and I also get food 3 times a day. All my meals, and I also get salary every month. Understand? So finally Sahab-e-Alam has given up rag picking and he has got a proper job. But unfortunately, the author feels that the tea canister is very much heavier than the plastic bag. This is also a metaphor actually. The heaviness of the tea canister is symbolic of the loss of freedom. When Sahab Alam was a rag picker, he had all the freedom in the world. He was his own master. He did not have to answer to anybody. He was always ready to do whatever he pleased whenever he liked. But the moment he got employment in the tea stall, Sahab is no longer his own master, which means he has another master. The tea shop owner becomes his master. He has to follow the orders of the tea shop owner. So the tea canister seems more heavy than the plastic bag. When he was carrying the plastic bag, he always had a carefree look on his face because he did not have to answer to anybody. But now he had to follow certain rules imposed by the tea shop owner, in return for which he got a salary and he also got all his meals. So Sahab Alam, despite wanting to be free, is forced to work because unless he works, he cannot satisfy his hunger and he cannot get all the basic necessities of life. Children, remember, you are a very privileged lot to be studying in such a wonderful institution which takes care of your food, your shelter, your clothing, your education and all your emotional needs. I request you to kindly spare a thought for somebody like Sahab Alam who does not have even the most basic facilities in life. Just imagine what his future is like. He has nothing to look forward to. He just has to live life on a daily basis. He has no ambition. He'll never have an ambition and he will never have a secure future. So, it is my request to you that utilize the facilities you have properly and see that you do not waste any of these facilities or any of the time that gives you. Every time you're tempted with such thoughts, remember there are people like Sahab Alam in this world who have no hope ever in their lives. So we have come to end of the first part. A video of the second part, I'll be uploading it very shortly. Kindly go through the text and please get back to me if you have any doubt. You know that you can always ask any doubts to me, for which I will be answering as best as I can. Thank you.